What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Hey, everybody. What is going on? This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. And let's get started today. Today is Motivational Mondays. All right. And before we actually get started, I want you guys all to like this video because you're going to like it anyway. I want you to subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here. And I want you to hit the share button, save it to your phone, or send it off to somebody. Get somebody on this right now so they can be watching it with you, because I'm going to come up with some good stuff. All right, so let's get started. Today is Motivational Mondays. First question that I have for you is, put this visual in your mind. What is your best life? Whatever you're doing right now, take it to the next level and visualize what is your best life. Okay? Now, what I want you to specifically think about is your best life in 4 particular areas. The first one is work. Okay? Where are you working? Now, some of you may say, well, I'm going to be working from home, maybe I'm going to be on the beach, or whatever that is. What is your best work environment? Are you an employee? You can still be living your best life as an employee, but are some of you seeing yourself as a boss? All right. Second area is relationships. So at the job, what type of relationship do you have with your colleagues? What type of relationship do you have with your friends? What type of relationship do you have in your intimate relationship? And what type of attributes are you bringing to those relationships? To the relationship table, and the people that are surrounding you, what type of attributes are they bringing to the table as well? All right, number 3, what does your best life look in the areas of health, wellness, fitness? I got on the scale and I'm about 243 or something like that. I took a picture of it, so I'm probably gonna put it up on the screen. But what does your ideal weight look like? What does your best life flexibility looks like? Now, when I think of my life as being my best life, and this is kind of like a wellness check that I do. If my body is feeling a little bit off, I will always ask myself these 5 questions. How much sleep have I gotten in the past 72 hours? What food have I put in my system in the last 72 hours? How much water have I ingested, I put it in my system in the last 72 hours? How much exercise have I gotten? And how am I thinking? And these are the same things that my kids will tell you. Dad, water doesn't cure everything. My daughter says that all the time. Because I just refer back to the basics. How much sleep I got? Food, water, exercise, how am I thinking? And if those things are intact, then I'm usually feeling pretty good. And if I'm off a little bit, I can usually find it's one of those areas that's a little off that's having me a little bit off. That's number 3. And number 4 is your financial situation, your financial portfolio. What does your best life portfolio look like? What do you got in savings? What do you got in investing? What do you have that's for retirement? Do you have an insurance policy? What does that look like? And when you put those things together, it should put a smile on your face. You should be sitting over here going, man, if my work environment looks like this is my best life work environment. My relationships look like this. My health, my wellness, my fitness, it looks like this. My financial portfolio, it looks like this. Man, I'm feeling great. Real easy. Okay? Now think about that for a second. Now I'm going to shift gears just for a second. When I was locked up, I got a hold of a great book. And I'm probably put it up on the screen just so you all can see it, but I have it in my hand. It's Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Okay, in that book, he's a Holocaust survivor, but what he does is he shares some very impactful quotes, and I'm going to put those on the screen. I'm not going to go into the details of them, but he shares these very impactful quotes where he's basically saying that and it's in reference to living your best life, is that basically if you don't like what your environment, you still have the power to choose how you look at it, how you think about it. And I thought that was so powerful, because when I was locked up in prison, I actually used those principles before I actually got a hold of that book. Because if I was in a tough mental state, if I just was just having a moment where I wasn't dealing very well with the fact that I was incarcerated, I would actually take myself to my best place I wanted to be, or a goal. And in this instance, I told myself that I was going to be a college graduate. Now understand this. I'm sitting in a prison cell. At one point, I was facing 67 years in prison. It got reduced down to 4. And I graduated from high school with a 1.5 grade point average, and I got an 11 on the ACT. I could barely read, barely write, struggled in every area, math, science, you name it. And now I'm sitting in prison telling myself that I'm going to be a college graduate. Now, that's about as far-fetched at that moment as you could get. But I sat in that space. And just as Viktor Frankl said that, if you can visualize, if you can see, and as he shared in the book, he saw people who lost the will to live, didn't have a goal, they actually perished real quickly. The ones that survived were the ones that actually held on to something. So when I got at my lowest, I thought of myself at the highest place I could think of, and that was having a college degree, because it seemed impossible from where I was. Now, I share that with you because I see a lot of people, and what I call, they rationalize where they are in life. And that comes from, I firmly believe that comes from, at some point in time in their life, they heard a lie about themselves. They heard an opinion about themselves, or they heard some misinformation about themselves. And they adopted, they took it on. And then what they ended up doing at that point is they built an entire life and a mindset around that. So wherever they are in life, and more than likely, they're not living their best life unless they came out of that. But if you have adopted and built a life around a lie, an opinion, or some misinformation, what you end up doing is rationalize where you are. And the thing is, there was a movie called Inception. And that movie Inception broke down what happens when there's a thought so deeply embedded in your mind that you have to go down in there and go right to that thought and that source, and you have to adjust that source. And so that's what happens. You can look at somebody and see them clearly not living their best life right now. And then you give them all the tools. You say all the right things to them. You put them in front of all. But what's happening is that source, where it started from, that lie, that opinion, that misinformation, has never been corrected. So I don't care what you do. I don't care what source you give that person. Nothing's going to change. So I was in the process of digging deep down into where that lie came from. And I was able to uncover it because I was in prison. So I had a lot of free time to just dig deep. And I found out a lot of lies and opinions and misinformation that I was carrying around. And I was able to go readjust those, be very intentional about speaking life into the things that I wanted to see. And so I stopped rationalizing and I started thinking more in a mindset of, what is my best life? I can be that. I can be that best life that I visualize. Because again, I'm sitting over here looking at where I am in prison and thinking to myself, I want to be a business owner. I want to be a college graduate. I want to be an author, and I want to be a motivational speaker. I still have the notes somewhere. I'm gonna show that. I'm probably gonna put a picture on the screen. I had those best life thoughts in my mind, and they all came to fruition. I created them all. And as I look back on that, I said, how did I do that? And it was really something that I learned later on. I can articulate it now, but I didn't know what I was doing. I just said, hey, look, I just know I don't like this right now where I'm at. And this is where I want to be. Whether I'm going to get there or not, at least I'm going to start believing in that. And so, as we close this out right now, if you start doing that, if you ask yourself, what is my best life? And you make it a point to just be very intentional about thinking about that and then putting the action in to start moving in that direction, you are definitely 100% planning your greatness. This is Plan Your Greatness. And I'll say this again. I don't know, did I say this earlier? Did I say hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button? I don't know. If I didn't say that, I'm repeating it again. Because there's somebody out there that that's watching this right now, and you know who that person is that would benefit greatly from watching this video. Telling them or getting them to ask themselves the question, what is their best life? And then helping them move in that direction. So I'll end with this again. Plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will.
A young boy once